Crosspoint worship team. I am going to go through probably a couple videos here to give you a quick walkthrough of what is now the kind of standard church keyboard setup with MainStage and the actual church keyboard. So just jumping right in. So when you are looking at the laptop, right on the desktop, there should be a little icon, looks a little something like this, name something similar to this, Xpoint, Crosspoint, Sunday keys with whatever the number is at the time. I'm on 1.2 right now. And it's going to look similar to this, not exactly because this is my laptop at home, but that's just the example. When you launch it, it should pull up one of two views, either this one right here, this edit view, or the one I'm about to show you. If it comes up in this edit view, you just need to go right here and click perform. Or it may launch right in this view to begin with, in which case, sweet, you have to do nothing. It's here already. So here we have the screen you're going to use the keyboard in during the service while you're playing. And it is set up now for the screen controls to be set up just like the actual physical controls on the church-owned keyboard. So we have 9 faders across the top, labeled just like this: piano, low pad, pad, big, synth. And then here we just have little color-coded squares. We have a blue one, an orange one, a yellow one, and then drone, with each of these faders having a button underneath it, like that. To the right of that, you have 8 knobs, which may be labeled in the future, but it will be something of a squeeze, so maybe not. And you have this row of buttons, which hopefully I'll get something on the screen shortly to give you a better idea of what it looks like. For example, this previous and next patch are set to these buttons because this has the little rewind symbol on it. This one has the fast forward symbol on it on the actual keyboard. And to the right of that, you have 8 drum pads labeled like so. Before we get into what they actually do, one thing I wanted to point out is the way kind of the software screen controls and the actual physical controls that you're moving interact. So the MainStage is what is actually making the sound, not the physical keyboard. So MainStage is looking at these controls, these software ones that are on your screen, to determine what sound to generate. And the physical controls are just telling MainStage where these screen controls should go. So for right now, just for example, let's say that this piano fader is the fader on your screen, and let's say this next fader, this low pad fader, is the physical fader on the actual keyboard. Let's say through any number of different ways that could happen, you look at your screen, the piano fader is all the way down, but then you look at the actual physical keyboard and your piano fader is turned all the way up. So the physical fader on the keyboard is up, but on the screen it's down. What you're going to have to do to move the fader on the screen is you're going to have to move the physical fader on the keyboard down to wherever the screen's fader is to kind of grab it before it'll react. So in other words, if this is the physical fader on the keyboard, if I move it like so, nothing is going to change on the screen and the volume of the piano won't change because you haven't moved the physical fader down to where the software fader is yet to grab it. So first on the physical keyboard, you need to move it all the way down, and now it's going to match where the fader on the screen is. And then once it's down, as you move it, it'll move the fader on your screen along with it. The reason that is using our example from before, if the actual sound started changing as soon as you started moving the fader, then let's say you play a chord and it's really quiet, which is what you want, and then you look at the screen. Well, actually the screen is all the way down, which is how you want it, and then you look at your fader on the physical keyboard and it's all the way up, and you think to yourself, that's not where it's supposed to be, it should be down. Well, if it were to respond right away, as soon as you started moving the fader, this would jump all the way up to where the physical fader is as you were moving it down. So the volume of the sound would go from quiet to loud to quieter as you turn it back down. So in order to make smooth changes in volume, any changes on the physical faders on the keyboard, nothing will change until you move the control to match what the control on the screen is. I'm going to stop this video here and start the next one going through the specifics of what each one of these does.